It's been a great weekend. I hope everybody had a great weekend, and we're going to have a great week. Just a reminder, please, there's a big heat wave. Make sure you bring in your pets from inside or keep them fully hydrated because it is very hot out there. Again, thank you for tuning in, everybody. We are live. Thank you, Rachel. She's the one behind the cameras making us all look good and make sure that we sound correct. Anyway, today I have a special guest, a friend, and I'm going to tell you in a little while how we met. Juan, the Arce, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Great, Johnny. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for this unique friendship. What's that, 2010, 2026?
Yeah,
it's been a while. It's been a bit. Good. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, and before we start, today is his wife Madeline's birthday. So Madeline, if you're tuning in, have a happy birthday. You know I don't miss him. So have a great day. Make sure that Juan gets you a big birthday gift.
No, thank you, Johnny. Thank you. Happy birthday, honey. I love you.
Anyway, Juan, so first to start off with what you do.
So professionally, I am the owner of Litigation Process Servers, which is a process serving company. We serve everywhere in the state of Florida and nationally. I'm also a private investigator. We investigate Florida and nationally and internationally. I am also, as you are, an elected community council member for Area 12, Kendall. And I am happy to say that for the past about 3 years, I've been the president of SALID, which is the Spanish American League Against Discrimination, which was founded in 1974, of which the new courthouse bears the name of our sixth president, Osvaldo Soto.
Okay, so in other words, you wear a lot of hats. You are the CEO or the owner of a private investing company, processing company. In other words, if you need to serve somebody, you're the person to go to.
Yes.
And he does a good job. Trust me, he does. Also, yes. You're an elected official. You're a community council member for Council 12?
Kendall 12, yeah.
Kendall 12, okay. How's that going? You enjoying it?
It is very interesting. I have worked in the court system before, the Florida bar, and watching the I've had many trials and jury and bench in my experience working for the state court system. Now this quasi-judicial setting is really interesting because you have a lot of community input. It's been, needless to say, a great experience. I think everyone should run for office, as you know, because it takes a lot to run and it takes a lot to serve.
Yes.
And I would like to say that I'm enjoying it. Kendall, it's great, and we're trying to keep Kendall, beautiful and nonetheless, we understand the traffic issues. That's a different story. We can't control that, but this is a zoning board, and I really appreciate my colleagues, and I appreciate the community and the staff. We try to do the best we can.
That's good. And I've heard that you've been doing really good, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. I know when you first called me about it, I said, go for it, I'm
actually the vice chair now, which is funny.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, quick ascending.
hey, that's not a bad gig to have.
No.
So yeah, and look, for the people, me and Juan met because we actually ran against each other a long time ago.
Yes, we did.
And ever since then, we've had a great friendship, and and I appreciate it, all your your advice back then. So yes, thank you, and we're gonna continue being friends. But yeah, Juan, I do appreciate you a lot, and I'm glad you're here. Now, SALID, which is the Spanish American League Against Discrimination. Now, they are sponsoring tomorrow.
Yes.
Right, a judicial forum at the Kendall Village in Kendall. Can you tell the audience a little bit about that and why this is so important?
Well, the third branch of government is very important and is often overlooked. The court system is the state court system. Circuit and county courts are the closest courts to all of us. They affect your traffic, evictions, temporary restraining orders, all the way to trials and circuit, civil court, and criminal court. The reality is we must pay more attention to who's being elected and who's being appointed. We, as SALAD, want to provide a platform where the community is able to come and listen and meet the candidates. There's a lot of endorsement panels that are happening, which are basically closed to the groups doing the endorsement, and that's great. We appreciate that. But SALAD has always taken the stand of providing access and information to the community. With that said, we have all 14 candidates confirmed. We will be meeting at the Kendall Center Village Pavilion in front of the theaters. We have a moderator and an assistant moderator. Is totally neutral, non-biased. The questions are random, and we look forward to a great opportunity for the community to come out and meet the candidates beforehand and afterwards, and chat a little bit and ask questions, because judges sit there for, I believe it's 6 years, and it's basically a situation that needs a little bit more scrutiny, as we should with every elected official, and it's also a position of trust. And we want these judges to understand that we want them to come back into our community. We want them to participate not only during election season, but we want them to come out to community events and understand what's going on. Great example, Johnny, is Kendall traffic, Homestead traffic. If you're set to go to court in downtown Miami and you're traveling from Florida City, or something of the sort, there's a reality. If you have children to drop off at school, I believe in the past it has happened that there's judges that really don't understand what's going on county-wide, and we want to make sure that the pulse of the county is understood by our elected officials at every level. And
Correct.
This judicial forum, in the spirit of our sixth president, Osvaldo Soto, and his interest for the judiciary, we want to continue.
No, I totally agree. And so, if I may add to that, a lot of times, and people always call me up, Johnny, who you recommend for judges and stuff, and even I don't know every judge. I have to get also, call other people up and say, hey, what do you think about this judge? But look, to the audience, we have to pay more attention. A lot of times people just come out, like always, to the presidential, the governor elections. But the judges are important because, yes, they are there. Once they're there for 60 years. Okay, and I've never heard of a judge being recalled yet. So, they're there for the 6 years, and these are judges that are going to be there for traffic, for civil, for divorce, for everything. So we should be. It's to our best interest to know who we're electing there. Whether, and I'm not talking about party wise. I'm talking about just the way they proceed on the bench, or the way they do their hearings, and how they end up given their arguments and so on and so on. So it is important that we do pay attention to this. Like even right now, there's a lot of money going on in a special race, and I want to bring one up. The Ruiz and I can't remember the young lady's name who's running against Mabel Ruiz. Do you remember the name?
Not offhand.
Okay, well, he'll show you that.
There's 14 candidates, so okay. I mean,
so there's a lot of money being put in that race because of something that she postponed, something that has to do with the library, and they threw some young, non-experienced lawyer against her. These are things that we need to start paying attention to. Because on the bench, we want somebody with experience. We want somebody that's humble. We want somebody that understands the community. So it is very important that we do pay attention to this. And I'm on this flyer, and it's a privilege and an honor to be on there, because it is important. So please, everybody, it's tomorrow. July 22nd from 6 to 8:30 at the Kendall Village. And I know it only holds so many people, but it's important you go out there and ask your questions and see who's going to be the next judge, that's going to be for our circuit courts, for our judicial courts, and so on. So please get out there and see what's going on. It's important that you put yourself into these things, because these things matter.
We've had historically, many different situations that have happened in the court system. I mean, judges are human, and reality is things will happen. And I believe the pulse of the county is very important. There's also law. You have to follow judicial law, the canons. You have to follow state law, election law. You have to follow so many laws. Then you have case precedent, right? Do your research, so you want to know that these people are academic. And then you have, as you brought up, the reality of ethics, and actually I wrote an article, an op-ed, for a paper, and I'll just read my merit and ethics. It says, merit has to remain the deciding factor. Florida's bench needs judges who bring real legal knowledge, sound judgment, integrity, and fairness to the job. Public confidence in the court rises or falls based on whether the people wearing the robe are truly qualified to be there, and that the confidence is worth protecting. That said, ethics must be non-negotiable. A judge's title carries little weight without unwavering commitment to honesty, impartiality, and accountability. Voters should ask hard questions about the candidate's ethical record, not just the resume, because the courtroom is only as trustworthy as the person presiding over it. And I will tell you, in my experience, I'll bring out people like Judge Bagley, Judge Crespo, Judge John Gordon, Judge Leite Vidal. I once sat in one of his trials. And to me, it's very important, the interpreting that goes on in the court, and especially in criminal cases. There's a term that we use in the street as a child. I remember I went to Miami High. We will call something that didn't look real as Mickey Mouse. It's a Mickey Mouse. And so I was in this trial. This guy's going to go to jail, and they wiretapped him. And when they wiretapped him, they're talking and whatnot, and he's talking about Mickey Mouse. It's a Mickey Mouse, right? And the translator, the interpreter, I guess, says, translates it, and then the state attorney says, "See, Judge, they're talking about Mickey Mouse," and totally off topic, conversation ensues, and Judge Leite Vidal, who has passed, stops and says, hey, I may be losing my hair, but I know what I heard. I speak Spanish. So he said, I'm going to get the recordings. I'm going to take them home. I'm going to sit in my pool, and I'm going to listen to them, because it's important. And I'm not saying every judge has to be bilingual or trilingual. It will be great. But we have a heavy population of Creole and Spanish speakers. With that said, judges should make sure that their interpreters are interpreting correctly, and also, it's great for the audience to know, but that our prosecutors are actually, not trying to put a fast one on the word Mickey Mouse like they did in the past. But, that was actually 20 years ago. I haven't heard of that happen, but I have sat through it. With that said, I will tell you, Salad does come and sit at different courtrooms to see the demeanor of some judges. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you that we have a lot of great judges. Judge Rebel just got ascended to the 3rd DCA. We have Judge Fernandez. I'm off right now, but Judge Enriquez, and that's what it is. He also great. I mean, I sat there. He didn't see I was there. Milena Abreu, I sat there in the back, and her staff was awesome in the Hialeah courthouse. I saw patience. I saw tact, humbleness from the staff as a whole, and it was great. And just like that, Judge Delancey, I mean, smart as can be, great heart. Hard when she has to be, and I could go on. There's many great examples of many great judges.
There is.
We just had Law Day. I don't know if I invited you to that at the Coral Gables Courthouse with Judge Patricia Marino Pedraza, and we brought kids from Riverside Elementary, a Title I school near our office in the state of Miami. And we had a great group of attorneys that supported that endeavor, and we did a mock trial on Law Day. And it was stupendous. I mean, the kids were so excited, and this helps morale, and it helps promote higher education for kids to aspire to be more. I mean, there were some that fit in perfectly as the clerk. There were some that loved being the bailiff, and some of them loved being the attorney. And then we had actually attorneys helping. Which made it, great. And the judge presiding, and, we gave them lunch. We had the sheriff's department come in and with one of their canines and do a little presentation. It was great. And we need more of this community involvement, which unfortunately is not being provided by, voluntary bars associations coming into the community. But we all work together to try to make things better. And this is just an idea.
No, it's great, and it's good. I mean, I know a few judges too that do a lot of community. Judge Diana Gonzalez White.
She's great too.
I like her. I followed Judge Michelle Gonzalez Paulson.
Oh, Michelle Gonzalez Paulson is an angel, also very supportive.
Yes.
Listen, my South Day judges, we love you.
Yes,
and no disrespect for anyone I've forgotten. I know too many, but I will tell you one judge who's making an impact even after not being on the bench anymore. Steve Leifman and the mental health facility, which actually will be touring this week next week with the governor of Lions Clubs International here in District 35N. Judge Leifman, he and I used to work together when I used to work in drug court, and drug court used to be drug court, mental health court, veterans court, juvenile court, and everything else we could bring in to help people with drug addiction. And Judge Leifman has maintained full speed ahead. We now have a veterans court, we have a drug court, we have a juvenile drug court, and we have a mental health court. The great thing is that he has actually advanced the idea that we need a place where recidivism falls, because we're providing people with the correct type of help they need based on their mental necessities.
Right, which is very important.
Yeah, incarcerating someone for punishment that needs mental health, it's necessary, and I'm 100% supporter. Salad is 100% behind the judge and the facility. Right. Lions International has a mental health component that they started also, and Ervin Gonzalez was a great lawyer in Miami-Dade County who passed away. I believe it was suicide. I'm not sure as of still today, years ago, but he had problems and no one knew. He was a high performer, a great guy, very smart. But if you have problems, you need to talk to someone. And as a community, we should provide access to mental health treatment to those people who commit crimes, because sometimes the crime is not really being committed because of the crime.
Because of a mental health.
It's because of a mental health, and it's sad. I mean, you'll see it in the street, and it saves us money. It actually it saves money that by not incarcerating someone and not giving them the mental health treatment, we can rehabilitate them. And my understanding is there's going to be many programs that will help.
That's good. No, it's important that we get the right treatment for the person, because we don't want to make a person worse or put them in a worse condition when we don't need to be. But yeah, in fact, another judge that came to my mind when I was a guardian ad litem, Judge Liederman, which I don't know if the judge is retired or not, but that was a great judge also for the youth.
Yeah. David Young, also great. I mean, him and his dog Rosie. I think he has another dog, and Judge Bernstein, Judge Prescott. Yeah. I mean, Judge Rosnick, which was the my boss and did drug court, and before that, Judge Goldstein, who started drug court, who was also a Lion and has passed away. But we've had many great judges, and I'm not saying that we have bad ones now, but we just need an informed community to go out and vote. And basically, as the president of Salad, I'm not telling you to vote Hispanic. I'm telling you to vote based on merit. Meritocracy is very important. We want the best of the best. Just when you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you, to do whatever test or do whatnot, you don't really second guess the doctor.
Right.
We shouldn't have to second guess our judges. And I know there's a lot of scrutiny going on different things, but access to information is important, and I'm not sitting there as the judge, so I'm not here to criticize anyone. I'm just here to say, we want community participation. Look them up, looked at their webpage, looked at their Instagram, and just check. A history of service and professional leadership. It doesn't hide. It's there. You will be able to see it.
Correct. You do your homework on who you want to elect, but make sure it's, and something even more important, make sure you vote. Right now, we have a bunch of absentee ballots that have gone out. Last time I checked, a small percentage have been returned. And make sure not only that when you fill them out, sign and date them, because a lot of times people forget this, and it's very important. And so, and I want to do my due diligence and letting voters know that when you do this, make sure you sign, you date, you send it out. Don't just leave it on your kitchen table or on your dresser. Let's fill these things out. Do your homework on the candidates and let's get them out. It's important that we it's a privilege and a right to be able to vote, and it's something that a lot of countries, even to this day, are still fighting to do, and we have it. So let's exercise our right.
It's funny you say that. I had the opportunity to go with my family in Nicaragua. I'm originally from Nicaragua, and one of the actual last democratic elections we had, which have been years, and I accompanied them to vote. And they waited for hours. Some people waited, overnight to be able to be in the line. And they have a higher participation level. So you got to remember, democracy is not free, and you cannot complain about the choices you never made. You need to vote, do the best you can, and be part of the situation, the system. Vote, and whether you're a Republican, Democrat, or Independent, just vote. Do your due diligence and see what it is. We all have core values that we stick by, but in the reality, when you go to court and you have that traffic ticket or that temporary restraining order, you want someone wise, experienced, and that has the ability to understand what's going on. Okay. Why did things happen? Ask questions when the judges ask, or make sure that counsel, the attorneys, are actually doing their job. I've seen attorneys, back in the day that got their ear pulled, by their bosses, at the state and public defender's office for not advocating for their clients, and it's sad. And it's like I tell all the judges, do roundtables with your staff and the lawyers, and find out better ways to practice. Just like Zoom is a phenomenon, and if you've been downtown, parking's not cheap if you got to go to court. Not. I mean, I think it's like $40 now, right? It used to be $20 not too long ago. Yeah, it's really crazy, and it's like just like I said, leaving a child off. If you have court at 8:30 and you have to be there at 8:30, and schools don't open till 8:10. I know. Where do you leave that child?
No, exactly. And not to get all set, but one of the things I do want to go over real quick in our last few minutes is your business, because I'm a big small business person, because I'm an electrical contractor. How did you get into your type of business? For those out there that want to someday be a server or a private investigator.
When I graduated high school, I wanted to go to law school, and I started working at an office, just being a runner, copies, paper, and whatnot. But I always wanted to know why, why. So I obtained this license in 1995 to be a certified process server, and been serving ever since. But I've had all other roles, as you know. I mean, I've worked for Fortune 500 companies, national and international, that have to do with court reporting. I worked at the Florida Bar. I worked in the county and the property appraiser's office. I left legal for a while to teach. I used to teach government, of course, civics. I taught legal classes. I'm also a paralegal. I have my degree as a paralegal, and my master's is in educational leadership. I put them all together, and this is what I run. To be a private investigator, you have to do an internship for 2 years, and then you could go ahead and get your license. And after you have your license for 2 years, you go open up an agency. So So I've had my agency for a couple of years now, and it just goes full circle because we get a lot of documents and a lot of questions. So, like I tell my staff, we are the professionals. We need to be able to answer the questions. So what occurs is that my two companies work hand in hand, because we could jump from looking for you and not knowing where you're at to actually finding you, because we have the tools of the trade to make it happen.
Right.
And then, like I say that judges should do, I also keep my pulse on not just on the county, but the state and the country. So I understand the laws as they apply to all the work that we do and our limitations. Because believe it or not, it's sometimes you gotta think outside the box and say, what would I do to evade Johnny Farias from finding me? And I'm not gonna tell you exactly what we do, but we do think outside the box a lot. And I like to say that our level of efficiency in getting things done is very, very high. But it's I have many great stories about serving.
In fact, well, can you give us one? 'Cause I was going to ask you that. I mean, look, a lot of jobs, they sound, but I know there's got to be some exciting in there. Because I'm just an electrician. I mean, I can't give you any great electrical stories. Well, maybe I can, but give me a good story.
We are very ethical. So first of all, we maintain ethics, because I believe ethics are very important. But we've been asked to do stuff that's unethical, and we say no. But I'll tell you, I had this one time we were looking for this doctor, and he was a Jackson doctor. Couldn't find him. It was crazy. And I said, I'm gonna go, because I'm the boss. I go and I clean up. I take care of like whatever's really hard. I go, and I went. And I get in the elevator, and as I'm getting out, I see a couple passing by with a shaggy dog, white, hair dog. And I walk all the way to the apartment, and I'm knocking. No one opens. We have been there a bunch of times. No one opens. And I look at the floor, and I see like a lot of hair, like white hair. Then I look at all the neighbors, so I kind of like do because you gotta look. You have to have your eyes open. It's like a movie. Right. And I'm like, that dog lives here. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that coincidence?
The dog that you saw when you got out of the elevator.
Yeah, so when I go down there, and the guy had been evading, I go down there and I see the dog, and I walk up to the guy. I'm like, oh, what a beautiful dog. And he's like, yeah. I said, what's his name? Yeah. And I said, what is your name? I said, I'm Juan. And he tells me his name. And I said, oh, I have something for you. And I gave it to him. And he's like, how'd you find me? I told him, I said, I saw your dog's hair. He just starts cracking up. He wasn't happy. But, we went to a concert too. And I had to find this guy. And they gave me a picture of him. He looked really good. But it was 20 years before. And this guy did not look, like he did at that time. It was a concert at Key Biscayne. There was like 10,000 people. It was dark. Looking for the guy, couldn't find him. I basically almost gave up. I said to the client, I'm going to do one last pass. And the photo I had received had the image of a tattoo that you could barely see coming out of his sleeve. 3 little tridents, the points. And I'm walking, I see this guy, and I take a picture. I say to the client, I say, is this your guy? Because he looks nothing like that guy. And the guy was here only for a day. He had been evading in he lived outside the country, one of the Caribbean islands. And I see him, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to figure it out. And I see him, and I go, hey, man, you're popular, right? And he starts cracking up, and I say, no, you're really cool, right? Like, you're popular, right? I'm like, I know I've seen you. And he's like laughing, right? And I said, can I talk to you? And I go, hey, what's your name? I know I've seen you. He tells me his name, and I'm like, Bakata. Give him the papers. He's like, how'd you find me? I'm like, saw your tattoo. And then the excuses come and stuff like that. So it's always something dramatic and whatnot. It's definitely not safe. You have to be you have to probe and ask a lot of questions. But it's a fun situation to investigate and to serve. It's not for everyone.
I can imagine. I mean, you're making me laugh with some of those things that people that you're saying you do. But yeah, that's awesome. Hey, look, so really quick, the audience, if you needed to hire somebody to serve or investigate, tell them who to call, and you've got a website.
Serve me at litproserve.com, SERVEME at LITPROSERV as in Victor.com. 305-340-3100 is our office number.
Well, there you go. If you need a server or investigate somebody, even I guess even when people cheat,
Oh yeah.
there you go.
Opposition research, cheat. We do stakeouts, surveillance, and all that. It's all fun.
There you
It's
go.
like a movie.
Okay, there you go. We'll put it on later. Again, thank you very much, Juan. Thank you for coming on the show. It's been great. It's been nice having you. It's always good talking to you.
Likewise.
Again, happy birthday to your wife. Everyone, make sure you come out to the forum tomorrow if you can. It's a judicial forum. Let's get to know who our judges are. Thank you again, Community News, for having me, for always allowing me to be here and do a show. Rachel, thank you for always making us look good on the camera and the voices. Everyone, have a great and safe week.